Good day, everyone. This is Vegas, and we're going to talk about Apple because we had the earnings, and let me tell you, they were incredible. And if you have people on social media that say not good enough, you should not be following them. What's not good enough, actually, is that they didn't do the research, they didn't listen to the conference call, they don't have a vision of Apple, and they're probably not investors of the stock. So ignore them and listen to Dan Ives. He's a tech analyst at Wedbush, and he's going to give you his thoughts on Apple. And let me tell you, the way he explained it was phenomenal. But I listened to the conference call as well. And Tim Cook had some great things to say about the future. And I will give you my closing commentary after we hear Dan Ives. So, Dan, over to you, and let's hear what you have to say.
Off these lows in overtime was down as much as 3% now, maybe about 1.5. How big a deal is that projection, that confidence it sounds like we're hearing from Tim Cook about the holiday quarter in the iPhone?
This stock's going to be green. I mean, ultimately, if you look at that guidance, what you're seeing in China, remember there was only 1 week of iPhone 17 in the quarter. Everyone's focused on December, and that's very robust in terms of what we're seeing on iPhone demand specifically out of China. And then you look at what I believe services, massive double-digit growth. Look, you go back to the last 6-9 months, company back against the wall. Now you have this number. And then look, what I believe, everyone's playing for AI. You look at Amazon, look at the hyperscalers. You see what's happening on authentication. We see on Orbs. I think you also see on CrowdStrike and some of these cybersecurity names. Apple's going to get into the AI party. And that, I believe, is worth $75 to $100 a share. If you're an investor right now, I think it's a pound the table moment for the stock.
Pat Moorhead, Steve Kovac reporting there that Tim Cook says Apple Intelligence is on track for them to deliver as they promised next year. You combine that with the holiday season that they're projecting for the iPhone. How does this set Apple up, do you think?
So, John, it's really going to depend on the installed base that can't run Apple Intelligence. And as we progress, every slip of Apple Intelligence, more of these iPhones can support it. A year ago, had we been in the same place, I would have said it would make I think I was talking along with Dan Ives about a super cycle, and it just didn't happen. So I don't think the AI bump will be as big as everybody will expect, primarily based on the reason that there's a much larger installed base of Apple Intelligence compliant or enough performance in memory to run this. But hats off on the services. It's over 50% of iPhone. I think that's a great accomplishment.
So, Dan, is this in a way a pull forward because Apple's getting these 16, 17 sales now versus, AI not being the thing to deliver? Is that a bad thing? Is there a way, given the growth in services, that it turns into a good thing? How should investors frame that?
Yeah, I think Patrick made some great points, as he always does. Look, I think maybe there's a little bit of a pull forward, but it all comes down to Google, once they won that DOJ suit, now it clears the path for what's going to be, I believe, a massive Google Gemini partnership on AI. And that will be ultimately when you look at the next 1 to 2 cycles. The fact that iPhone 17 is holding up so strong and a surprise, what I believe is going to be in China in the December quarter, you start to look at numbers. There is a lot more that could go right here than wrong. And I think that's why this continues to be. You could have a $350 stock. You could have a $400 stock if they get AI right. If you're wrong here or there, I think minimal downside. That's why, in my opinion, it's one of the top large cap names to own here, along with some of the other big tech names.
Pat Moorhead, beyond iPhone, if we're looking at Mac and a possible halo effect from some of this phone buying, I mean, it does seem that it would help if consumers, if end users have multiple modern Apple chips at their disposal to run whatever it is that the company's offering. Where else should investors look for potential upside, if not driving revenue like iPhone, at least driving EPS upside?
Yeah, so this isn't an area that investors have looked at closely, but I think we should look to Mac, right? There's a lot of my channel checks that indicate that Apple will be bringing in a much lower priced back for some of the countries that they're under indexed in, like China and like India. And this could drive some serious revenue. And just the way that they do their models and their engineering, very profitable. So I think that is a much quicker turn than, let's say, waiting another 5, 10 years for Vision Pro to become something even bigger. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Apple make a play for more content companies to boost that services revenue. There were some questions around how they would do in content, but I think the jury has come back and said they're awesome at this and they've played their hand very well.
Well, there you go. Apple has definitely played their hand very well. And you can see that they are a force to reckon with, right? So I want to just sum it up here with regards to Apple because the bottom line is this. The guidance is Apple's love letter to bulls, a turbocharged holiday sprint that screams, we're not just coasting on iPhone nostalgia, we're accelerating into the AI's golden age. And if supply chains play ball and services keep printing money, Q1 could be the spark that reignites the stock's 2025 rally. So skeptics need to take notes. In a world of big tech, capex wars, Apple's disciplined groove, that record 29.7 billion operating cash flow, 24 billion return to shareholders feels like the smart money bet. Tim Cook is not just guiding, he is daring you to doubt the empire. As for me, I'm just going to grab my popcorn for December, and I think this show's just about to peak. So tomorrow we will see how does the stock open, or today if you're listening to the video in the morning. We'll see how the stock is performing. And honestly, if this stock dare dip, I am a buyer of the dips, and I will hold this stock into next year and forever because this is a great long-term stock. You heard Dan Ives, $75 to $100. This can even go to $400 longer term. So, Apple bulls, congratulations. And thank you, Tim, for that beautiful love letter. Have a great day, everyone.